The Adeptus Sororitas are marching to war once more. It seems that the Sisters of Battle Codex is coming this weekend. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, where today we're talking Sisters of Battle, about the book and the models that will be on sale this weekend, and also the new revealed prices for them. We've known that the Sisters of Battle have been coming for quite some time now, basically ever since we saw that previewed Palatine right near the start of 9th edition, and it's going to be interesting to see how the army is updated into 9th. I think it's going to be an interesting release. Sisters, much like Admech, are already in quite a good place in 9th edition right now. They've got quite a balanced codex where most of the units are quite usable. Hopefully the new book won't shake that up too much, and that they'll still remain a fairly balanced army after. If the trend from the last few book releases is kept up though, then I'm sure they'll be very strong indeed. At the very least, we'll certainly know that they have more unit options on the way due to all the releases that they're scheduled to get. So here we have the releases for this week. We've got the Sisters Codex itself, the normal accessories that come alongside it, 3 characters in More Val, the Dogmata and the Palatine, and then 2 units in the Paragon Warsuits and the very nice looking Celestian Sacrosants. The Sisters Codex will be £30 or $50. It comes with a new Collector's Edition option as well, the one with a slightly different cover, and a new bit of cover art as well, the one with the Sacrosant advancing across a fiery battlefield, mace in hand, all ready to smite some Xenos or heretics. We've seen a few previews of what it's going to contain, all the new datasheets, a new war hymns mechanic that's going to be available to the Dogmata and a few others. Basically they can buff their sisters like chaplain litanies, a big new section on crusade rules, updated points costs, stratagems and probably some datasheet additions, updated points costs and a new Blessings of the Faithful ability that we might get into tomorrow. Maybe it is a little bit hot on the heels of the previous Sisters Codex. That one's only been out around about a year and a half after all, but still I'm sure Sisters players will appreciate getting their rules updated for 9th edition. Next up we have the usual unique dice and data cards. The Sisters ones seem to have their symbols like the fleur-de-lis on theirs, representing every single dice spot, though again I think they might be one of the examples that might be slightly hard to tell the one from the 6th. You've either got a very big fleur-de-lis on the one side or a Inquisition symbol on the other. Maybe not the most helpful if you're trying to tell them apart at a quick glance. No word on exactly what the data cards contain yet. I think it's fairly likely that they'll have the war hymns and stratagems on, maybe even acts of faith as well. Next we have High Abbess Morven Val herself. She's going to be £34.50, which if we translate into the normal prices for US dollars and euros, that would equate to around about $55 US or €42.50. A little bit on the pricey side, but it does seem that with that Paragon suit, she is going to be deploying some pretty scary buffs on the nearby units, and also pretty nice in close combat as well. She'll be taking up quite a chunk of the army at 265 points too. Next up we come to the Dogmata and Palatine, both of which seem to be £21 models, actually slightly down from what I might have predicted from Games Workshop. Some of their previous Sisters of Battle miniatures were £22.50. Again, very roughly translating into dollars and euros, that's going to be around about $35. Or €25. I guess at least compared with some of the other Sisters characters, they are fairly small miniatures and maybe a little bit more simplistic. In particular, I think that you can convert the Palatine from some standard Sisters if you wanted to save a bit. Maybe the Dogmata wouldn't be the hardest thing to convert either. Maybe get something like one of those new Sacrosant bodies and give them a staff. I quite like the helmeted head option for the Dogmata as well. It makes her look quite a lot more imposing in my opinion. Next we have these 3 Paragon Warsuits, £42, which again, going by very rough estimates, will be around about $70 or €50. Maybe being somewhere in the equivalent of somewhere between a Space Marine Centurion and a Dreadnought. I do quite like the way that you get all 3 of them for that cost. They aren't just selling them individually or anything, which I'm sure they would charge more for. I know the looks of the Nundan Walkers do seem to have divided opinion a bit, but I think it could be quite interesting to open up the option of an entirely Walker Sisters of Battle army, maybe by using a whole ton of these, and things like a load of Mortifiers and Penitent Engines. It might be quite nice to think of other builds that could take off for the Sisters in alongside their standard Sisters of Battle Infantry battle line that tends to be the usual way that they might play. Finally for this week's releases, we come to the Sisters Sacrosants, perhaps a version of Lich Guard or Blade Guard veterans for the Sisters of Battle now, and I'd really be surprised if these girls aren't pretty strong in combat. One of the hallmarks of 9th edition is that anything armed with a storm shield and melee weapon seems to be doing rather well. We've seen previously that these both have the option of a hooded head and a helmet, which could really give you some nice squads with some different looks and a different feel to them. And they also have the option to either be armed with things like these power maces, or the great big halberd polearm thing that the other one had in the preview. I'll be quite interested to see whether all of them can take that, or whether that could be an option for the Sacrosanct Sergeant or something. I think perhaps out of all the releases for the Sisters of Battle out of this wave, I think that these girls might be the ones that get the most attention. They maybe just fit in with the established Sisters aesthetic a bit more than some of the others, and I sort of feel like they might be getting into diminishing returns with the amount of support characters the Sisters have. There's already quite a lot available from the previous Codex. In any case, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do once we get the full rules for them. Either way, we do already know their prices. They're £34.50, again, which would translate into something like around $55 or €42.50 if we base it off previous products like the Necron Ophidian Destroyers, which would cost the same. Maybe a touch on the pricey side for Sisters Infantry. They are a bit smaller than things like Space Marines after all. This does, however, mean that we are missing at least a couple of models off the Sisters release. Not everything will be coming out this week. I'm sure at least a few people will be looking forward to picking up a Castigator tank, the one with the triple heavy bolters and the great big battle cannon or autocannon turret. I hope they managed to make its rules at least fairly decent. Almost everything that's a big tank armed with guns has just been a little bit underwhelming in 9th at the moment. Ever since the core keyword came in, it just meant that you couldn't have as much synergy with them, and a lot of people are just focusing around buffing infantry rather than tanks, with a lot of its weapons more sort of doing chip damage. I hope that it's at least fairly cheap. The other kit that we haven't seen yet is Astrid Thurger, this fun banner bearer with the auto tapestry and her little assistant. I really quite like the banner. I think they've done incredibly well with it, but I'm not sure if she's going to be quite on the same priority as some of the other models for some people to pick up. It is cool to see the Sisters get more unique characters, but they don't tend to be quite as popular as the more generic options in my experience. Definitely a cool model either way though. It'll be interesting to see what her auto tapestry does to the Sisters around her. So overall, quite a lot of good stuff coming for the Sisters now. I'm sure that Games Workshop's going to be keeping us well informed with new previews and things as the week goes on. I'll certainly be trying to make a video or two as we go along and cover the Sisters' points changes from chapter approved in a video tomorrow. I'm most definitely looking to make a full review of the Sisters Codex in the same style to the ones that I've done for other armies. If you'd like to see either of those, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I do try and keep regular 40k content coming. I'm sure there'll be a ton to talk about with the new Sisters when we get their army details in full. Finally, if you'd like to help support the channel, I would just like to mention one way that you can do so, which is my Element Games affiliate link, which is down in the video description. Element Games is a discount retailer based in the UK. They usually give 10 to 20% off Games Workshop's miniatures, and if you did choose to buy anything through them after clicking the link in the video description, a small amount of money goes to help support Auspex tactics without costing you any more whatsoever. Can just be a way to help support the channel if you were going to buy something anyway. If you happen to be across the pond in the USA or Canada, there is also an Amazon affiliate link in the video description. Again, that works in pretty much the exact same way. Click the link, buy literally anything off Amazon whatsoever, and a small amount goes to help support the channel without costing you any more. Again, can be a way to help support on things you might have bought from Amazon in any case. Either way, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys in the next video.